Okay, I'm a targeted individual with Morgellons disease, aka governmental lab rat. Please watch this video. It's eye-opening and it's detrimental to humanity. I look the way I do because of my Morgellons, and I'm looking a lot better than I have in the past. And there is my RF detector. So I'm going to start with the bang here. We're going to start out with the bang, show you the proof that I am a targeted individual, and they have in fact infiltrated my entire home and life, and been doing it for years, I've learned. It's been a difficult journey, to say the least. Please watch, because the world needs to know what's going on, and other people who have Morgellons, hopefully it can help if they're being targeted too. I don't know if everybody with Morgellons is targeted, but I know I am. So let's get to it here. I'm gonna try and whip this and set it. No, that's not gonna work. Sorry. This is so hard to do by yourself. I'm gonna set the camera here so it's still. I'll try and aim it at the what we're going for here. So this is hard to do while I'm on the thing, because I have to set this to 4. But it wants to jump right up to, see, even if I barely turn the knob, it wants to jump right up to the highest setting, because there's so much radio frequency right now here. So anyway, you get the gist. I've located it to being this receptacle here, and I think it's coming. We'll use my connections, yeah, because when I push it up, but anyway, this is the connection, and we're going to turn this off so it doesn't annoy the heck out of us, and I'm going to show you what I found in here, which is just unbelievable. So it's got this double pack on it. It's got this glue stuff and this blue wire that, when the lid closes, pushes this in, which is the RF signal. Oh, that's probably why it was going on and on, because the lid wasn't screwed on. So when the lid is screwed on, the RF is always on. And they screwed with my wiring. They put wires. It's crazy what they've done to my home. I'll get into that here, but there is my light switch, and that's my RF signal that has been messing with me so much. So I'm going to start and tell you a little bit about this, and we're going to go into everything that I have learned, which it's unsettling, to say the least. This is very inhumane. It scares me where society might be headed if this is the thing that people can do to each other. So I have my cue cards here, so I was going to stay on track. So I was going to start with definitive proof that I think I showed. I can go around with my RF detector more. Everything beeps. I'm going to show you the other stuff that they've hidden it in, and the crazy stuff they've done to me here, but it's just unbelievable, to say the least. First of all, there's no help out there. I've called the police. I've called the FBI. I've called everybody. There is no help for targeted individuals, especially in my case. They're messing with my phone. I'm lucky if I have to post straight to YouTube. That's the only way I can get a video on. So, pardon the imperfections, but editing I can't do right now. I can't even use my phone most of the time, and all my internet is shows me what they want to see. It takes forever to go through, and then when I get on a different computer, I can actually find stuff that helps me, but otherwise I can't find anything that'll help me. So, anyway, it's the weirdest, strangest, most unnatural thing that you'll ever experience, which makes it much harder. I have put together everything now, and I realize that I have been infected for a long time, a lot longer than just my skin has shown the skin infection itself. So I'm going to try and flip the camera so I can hold my cue cards here. But I'm going to tell you everything that I've learned, and you won't believe what I've learned. Please, help share this. People need to know. People need to know. Let's see. That's good enough. So I started with the definitive proof. Said there's no help, and it's the weirdest, strangest thing. So I've had my skin infection now for a year and a half. I've gone to like 11 different doctors, and they all just dismiss you and don't really look at anything and don't listen to you. It's kind of the story of Morgellons disease. I had a lot of other stuff happening before that I now realize was related and preemptive of my actual skin infection, because I realized by the timeline and all the things that I've discovered that I've been a targeted individual for at least 5 years at this point. It's been a long road. The last 5 years, nothing's made sense, and it just never. Everything makes more sense now. So, I think this one's out of place. I went to the round of doctors, and then I was diagnosed with delusional parasitosis, which most people with Morgellons are, hence the name of the game. The government, the CDC, won't say Morgellons exists, and now they're trying to say it might be spirochetes or it might be related to Lyme disease, and I'm here to say much different, especially when you hear what's happened to me, and see all the proof that I have. But anyway, I under the microscope, when I use my phone, I was able to see nanobots. I saw them differently, like that they were like little nanobot characters, like an arm that was reaching, and they were making like DNA strands. And this is at 90 times magnification on my phone. And it was one of the sores that had come out of my face, like because they'll come out all of a sudden in a whole shape, and they have like a hole at the bottom with the hair that goes through, that goes deep down into your skin, and then they have the ulcer part that's on the top that you see as the ulcer on my skin, which is actually not my skin, it's a fake layer of skin that they create, and they use your hair, and they make their own hairs, and they weave it all together with all kinds of stuff, because I don't know if you know anything about nanotechnology, but nanobots, if they were self-replicating nanobots, which of course our government hides everything from us, they could carry a molecule of something, and they're taking an atom and they're moving an atom, so they're changing a molecule and changing matter basically, so they can change things, and yeah. So anyway, so I was looking at under a microscope for a phone. I figured it all out. I wrote a book. It's on Amazon. It's Infected with Military Nanobots, Proof that Morgellons is Caused by Nanotechnology. What I first discovered was that when I held the microscope up to the hairs that were on my head, that they were wound with a little hair that would move, because my hairs would move when they come out of my skin, and that little hairs winding two hairs together, and you can't only see it under a microscope. It looks like one hair otherwise. I mean, even the dermatologist looked at me and said my hair was fine. She wouldn't look under a microscope, so she stood like 5 feet back and diagnosed me in like 5 minutes with delusional parasitosis. And anyway, it's a terrible, terrible thing. Everybody thinks you're causing it yourself. Nobody believes what's happening to you because it's so unnatural. It's so crazy. So the bugs, I started having bugs coming from my skin. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I finally did. And I put them under a microscope, and they actually have spy gear on, like goggles and things like that. You can see I have Morgellons nanobots. I have videos of the other things. I know they're hard to see and they're slow. You gotta remember, I mean, I've been really sick with this. It makes it hard to think. It affects your central nervous system, your heart. It makes you really sick. And all you want to do is get better. And if you don't constantly clean your skin every day, you get significantly worse because they reinfect you. They really do reinfect you. And I've had so much proof to show that. So my dogs have it too. Their hairs get wound up and tight. And I know other people with Morgellons have said their dogs have it. The things that they seem to chew up end up popping out of my skin. I know it sounds crazy and strange and weird, but I mean, sometimes fluid will pop out from my skin. It's the fluid that's in between the fake skin layer that's made up of hairs and your regular skin. And when I wipe it up with a paper towel, it's just fluid on the floor, but then there's hairs in it. And if I open and close it, more hairs will appear. The nanofluid, the stuff that comes out of our skin, I don't believe it actually comes out of any skin at all, even the fake skin. I believe it exists as a fluid underneath with all the molecules necessary to make up basically whatever they want. And so they can pop out whatever they want, or whatever they have taken in and broken down into their atomic form, and into this fluid that burns and stinks and dirty and gross. I mean, I've had gross stuff come out of my skin. It's gross. It's embarrassing and it's terrible. And you hate to look at yourself in the mirror. And it's engineered by humans and they're targeting people with it. Okay, so the sun activates it. So that's how I was able to figure out that the nanobots make up everything. Like the bugs that come out of my skin, when I magnify in on them and shine a light on them, the nanobots will dissipate out of them and you'll start to see the nanobots come out. I have a lot of footage of all the stuff I'm talking about. I've put some of it on YouTube. I don't know how good the videos are. I've been pretty sick when I do it. Like I say, my phone's controlled, and so it's hard for me to post stuff I'm posting directly onto YouTube. I can't like edit or anything. They'll freeze my stuff, and they mess with my phone, and I only get to see what they want me to see on my phone. So anyway, I'm gonna try and get some better videos on there as I get better. I'm able to think finally now. I might be able to save my home. I mean, I can't even get a job right now. Luckily, I have a B&B, but then with COVID, it's been hard. But anyway, let's get back to this, because this is some crazy stuff that really needs to be shared. So, why do I know that it's nanobots if I haven't looked at scientists and everything figured it out? Well, here's my theory on that. Scientists need to look at Morgellons to see the nanobots. I think I see it because I don't have all those expensive microscopes and all that expensive equipment. I have the microscope on my phone. And because of my security cameras and stuff and the things that I've seen them do, and I have posted videos of that too, on my security cameras, I know that they can do the things through screens, like that you can see them, because a nanobot would be like 1/15,000th the size of your hair. So
of course, we can't see one of them, even at 90 times magnification. I've seen more of them clumped together. I learned this because we see them as light. It looks like reflective light. Like if you look down at the food that came out of you, or wherever they're at in the toilet or in the bathtub, it looks like the light that's reflecting, but then if you notice it's not, because it'll move kind of on its own thing. But record it with your camera, because that's when you can really see the strangeness of it. The electromagnetic signals, they use frequencies and things. So it's you got to use technology to see technology, right? That's how I see them. I had an Oreo container that I was sitting writing my book, and I heard crinkling, and I looked over, and the light I could see when I started recording come together, and like then you could see the nanobots kind of separate and then try and come together to form one nanobot. It's kind of like with our muscles, every cell in our body works to make the fibers, to make the muscle, to make us be able to lift something. That's how nanobots work together to accomplish something, to become a bee, do a spy gear, or whatever the weird stuff that these people have programmed into them are doing, because it's so strange, it's so awful. I've been tortured. So they make big holograms on my security cameras that freak me out at night. By myself. I have a video of them going through glass with rocks. They seem to be attracted to rocks, and so if you want to see the nanobots in them, if you have Morgellons, you can shine a bright light on whatever comes out of your skin, or on your skin if you get the microscope. I put it on my skin and see under my skin actually with it, and shine a light at it. Give it about a minute or two, and the nanobots will start to come out of whatever it is there is. If you have a rock right there too, the rock sucks them up. I also help break up the fake skin layers with rocks, because it with glycerin or with I like putting the pH pills in the bath water, and then using the rock helps to pull the nanobots out so they don't hold that hair together really tight, so that the hair won't break up, and that fake skin won't start to break up. Because they turned this into fake skin over this hair. It looked bald just a while ago, and it's coming back in. That pH water, actually, I've had so much stuff come out of my skin in the last 24 hours. It's crazy. Anyway, so they can become anything. I've moved metal with them. I've seen. It's just crazy that it's stuff that these nanobot things can do. I could use a rock with my SIM card in my phone, and I put my SIM card on the rock, and you could see hairs come out of it. Like the hairs will come out of anything that they are part of. Like tape, they're in a lot of tapes and stuff. So like tapes around your house, they'll use tape because they have metal in them, so they can conduct through radio frequencies and through cell towers, and so they can spy through the nanobots and with the nanobots, and use the nanobots the nanobots are controlled with the radio frequency signal. Like I said, that's why I bought the architecture. So anyway, so on one of my videos that I have on there, this is how I really realized that they're crazy. They come together, and they, like I said, like a muscle, do things. One of the lesions, I was trying to catch a bug coming out of my forehead, so to prove to people that bugs were coming out of my skin. Not something you really want to prove, but anyway, I was trying to catch it on camera, because I know it sounds crazy. But what I ended up seeing was that my lesion actually, there's the lights, the nanobots that go around in a circle and detach it from that fake skin layer. The lesion actually turns its head as it's chewing on that skin, and the skin piles up. It wraps some of the skin, grabs some of my hairs, wraps some of the skin around the hairs, and then that bright light goes off, and it makes that, they say it's a radioactive reaction, and then it turns that layer into skin, and then stood up and it actually walked down my forehead about a half inch, and then you see it settle back down, and then you see these hairs that look like light, that look like a nail gun shoot through the four corners of it, and it settles back down into my forehead like a half inch over. So I really hope that people will take this seriously with the proof that I'm going to show and everything. Because I see nanobots in any of the pictures I look at of other people's Morgellons. Like, I can see the nanobots in there. I've trained myself. I've been watching the nanobots for a while now, because the nanobots make up everything. I mean, the spy equipment that they use to spy on me, the mirrors, and I'll post videos of those things, but shining a bright light at the mirrors, putting them out in the sun, you can see the nanobots coming out of the mirror. Because it has tape on the back. The mirrors that they made have tape on the back. Always, I'll show you one of them. But they actually did have a mirror that I have on the video that is an actual, like, mirror you can't even buy anywhere, that was in my home, that I cried into every day about not getting better. And they watched and took notes or whatever they do. So, I talked about the nanofluid. And its fake skin layer. Okay, so the rocks have been my best friend. There was a time that I got so sick that I felt like bugs were pouring down my head. Was hearing buzzing in the vents. I would never live through those 3 weeks ever again. It was terrifying. It affected your dreams. I couldn't do anything. I felt crazy those 3 weeks. It was that my heart hurt so bad that all your tests from the doctors come back negative, and there's nothing wrong with you, because they're not looking for nanobots. Nobody's looking for nanobots. My dogs are attracted to it. Bugs are attracted to the smell of it and everything. That's why it's associated with Lyme disease. It attracts animals. But look further. Somebody needs to look for the nanobots, because they're there, man. Help me spread this. We need to get this out there, because they're targeting us, and it's terrible. So, bald side of the head, I talked about that already. I can feel things that are making me more sick when I pick them up, that have been infected, that have the nanobots in them. Then I realized I was being targeted. And they let you know. Once you know you're targeted, they let you know. And you know very well that you're targeted, but to other people you sound crazy, because they're using technology to target you that you can't see and you can't understand unless you're living through it. But they show you they're there. And it just gets worse. The mirrors were the worst ones. And then, like, security. Oh, I had a guest stay here. That's how I first started figuring it out. Who stayed at the bed and breakfast, and he was supposed to pay me, and because of COVID, it was a favor for a friend. But anyway, long story short, I was trying to catch him stealing something on camera, and I could never see him coming or going. And then I saw this guy drive by and talk to him, but they tried to look like they weren't talking, and flash something at the cameras. And they went out, and so we had to force him out, and I had asked him if he would give me a statement. I said, I saw you on the cameras, and reluctantly when I said, Mike, you don't want to take a mother from a daughter. They've already taken so many years from me. Please help me. And so he wrote me a letter, a statement about him being hired. There were 70 of us, and I'm number 38. I'm case study number 38, and that he was hired to put surveillance equipment in and to stay at my bed and breakfast by the CDC, is what he wrote in the letter. But so then my neighbor comes over, whose our daughters are friends, and I've helped him, James. I've helped him with legal paperwork. I even thanked him in my book for caring. And he brings this dress that's like a 3XL, and it looks like for Halloween for princess, and these picture frames that are crappy with hand drawings that aren't even done by his daughter, that are look like a third grader did them, and there was Morgellons fibers in there. When I opened the bags, I mean, I got so sick immediately. And then I remember the stereo I gave to my daughter, and I went and looked at it, and there was bugs, listening device bugs in the speakers. And I couldn't believe it. Thought he was my friend. He made me feel safe in the neighborhood. That's when I really had a hard time with everything, and I had to leave town for a few weeks. But I tried to go get help. I tried to go to the environmental agency because the nanobots were affecting the trees at the elementary school right on the other side of the fence. I was followed there. When I say followed, they follow you differently than like somebody who follows you. They're all around you, and then they turn this way, and there's the next one's right there, like watching, and they make known to you, but you just don't say anything because you look crazy, and you try to figure out if it's really happening to you, and why would people do this to you? So I went to the mayor's and the senator's office. The senator ended up calling me back after I left a message at Kinko's because I couldn't every time I try and send a message to a lawyer or anybody for help, my screen wouldn't work, my phone wouldn't work, it just wouldn't work. My microphone didn't work when they don't want it to, so I couldn't get the help I needed. I couldn't research the things I needed to research because everything was interfered with. So I went to Kinko's and I looked up some stuff and found out it was controlled by RF frequencies. So I went and I immediately removed the antenna and the dish off my house. I wasn't using the dish anymore, with Netflix and stuff. And then I went in the backyard and I took all the wires off the back of the house. I don't have a home phone anymore. I don't need that. Took that off. They had the stuff that they had there was pretty crazy. So I can start to show you some of this stuff and then go back to this, like the backyard. They had, let's see, in the backyard they had all this stuff here. And so they had these jumper things that had all these copper nuts on them, and they had my phone jack that was wired into the other phone jack. And I don't know what this thing is, but I know that it has paint on the back and weird stuff on it, and my detector goes off with it. I also had this, my cable was run into this fake box that had my tenant's side on it. It said 403 grouped together outside of the box, and then on the inside of the box you see the 401, which is my side of the building, and then it came into this together, comes into this splitter thing that sends off the signal, and then it came back out and went into came from my cable. So I took that off, and then I run the cable straight into my thing, and they kept messing with my cable. I had to put bricks up against the side of the house because they kept messing with it and putting their stuff on it. I know in my computer I found this weird hard drive thing that went back and forth in my CD drive. It just went back and forth like this. Like my normal CD drive just has a little circle in the center, but it had all this stuff in there. Like I pulled all that out, and then I started finding my ring thing was on, and I hadn't even hooked it up yet. I had bought it and never hooked it up because everything started happening, and I had never hooked it up. And then when I opened it, like the light stayed on, and it had its own big battery in it, which I didn't remember coming with. But I can't look up stuff, right? So they only show me what they want me to see. But it had its own Wi-Fi card in it. And it was
active, and that's what they were using that for a little while until I disconnected that. And then I found this down in my crawl space connected to my internet. I don't know what it is, but it was plugged into my modem, and it was down there in my crawl space. My modem wasn't, when I disconnected my modem from the cable, my skin started to get better, so I haven't hooked my internet back up. I don't know if that's what a modem's supposed to look like, but I'm scared to hook up my internet. This is a scale. This is the inside of a scale. They all go off with my RF detector, and for some reason people have left scales here. I've learned that friends have been a part of this, who I thought were friends in the past, things that they left and things that made more sense that they came and helped with, or when I went downstairs. My house has a corner of it. We had an earthquake a couple years ago in Alaska. Anyway, I have a corner that's failing in my house, and then it started falling again. We didn't know why, and it's just sinking in that corner, like the jacks just sink in the ground. So my dad had to build a part in the corner to jack it up, and so we had a jack under there that was holding part of it up to finish the project. And my house fell enough on the corner that I rent out that the doors wouldn't shut or anything. When I went down there, this had been removed. The bottom layer of the sealed rim was pulled out, and the nanobot things were coming in through that crack there, because I'll get into that part of the story, but I'm constantly reinfected. They're shot at my house. I went into my bathroom, and my bathroom was full of this thick fog. I immediately got sick again, and that's when my bald spot wouldn't go away. And I mean, they're in the projector part of this. I got one of those camera finders. These things are great. You got to get one of these, because you'll find cameras are everywhere. It's really actually kind of crazy how many things are cameras. Like my turtle had camera eye. Where's the thing here? It's easy to show on the camera. Let's see. This one here. It's easy to show on the camera, I think. I don't know how to look in the camera. I don't know if you can see the lens in there. But it's just a hooky thing. Like, they can have cameras anywhere. It's crazy. This is my speaker bar. I found that it was bugged. It was bugged on this part, and then it also has a bug on the cover of it, which I meant to move over here before I started the video. But this is the plug part that plugs into it, and that's just the cover that snaps on. That doesn't normally have anything on it, but this also here. And then my camera in my backyard was ripped off. Okay, so the light bulbs, they go off. They have stuff in them. They go off with the RF detector. The stuff inside of them, from what I've learned, the copper ring and these little jelly square looking things are what they need to send a signal with. But the light bulbs project stuff. They messed with my electrical. I think they're trying to make my house burn down. I don't know. But my wiring was all screwed up downstairs. It was crazy. There's bugs everywhere. This RF detector just goes off all over my house. So then I went up in my crawl space, because the wiring was all funky. And I could tell that there was wires downstairs that shouldn't have been there, and it was just crazy. I do all the work on my home. I'm a single mom, so I know my crawl space really well. And anyway, this was up in the attic next to wires that looked brand new that said Anaconda on them, 600 volts, and it had a megahertz on there, at 60 megahertz or something like that. And this was in there. It points one way, and it was next to the wire up in my it's at my roof where my insulation is blown in, and it's hard to find stuff up there because the insulation is blown in and it's a horrible place to be and go. But I was trying to figure stuff out because my ground wire that came from downstairs went up behind my tenant's bathtub, and then like it used to be outside. It's just everything, when you know where things are and you know things are wrong. And this is my Bluetooth device that I caught one time showing up as listening to, it's connected, and it wasn't even on. I don't understand that. So they can connect through any Bluetooth. I always leave my Bluetooth and my Wi-Fi off all the time. I take my SIM card out. So I kind of laid stuff out, like rocks are my best friend. I swear to God, they're my best friend. This one's shaped like a heart, and it saved my life. Put some glycerin on your skin, or take a bath in pH water. Even put a rock in the bath water with you, because it'll help to suck them up. Because I've had them shoot back into my body before, and it hurts, and they go really deep, and then they get you really infected in that area, and like you get a bald spot. Magnets also help once you've broken up that skin layer. That glycerin, I found the pH stuff. Hydrogen peroxide does erode the skin. Actually, and it feels weird because it's not bubbling on your skin, because it's like you can't feel, you can't see, you can't touch, you can't. Wires. I wanted to mention wires. If you notice that your wires behind your TV keep getting like tangled together, like they'll tie them. They'll tie little knots in them. I kept noticing like little ties would like that kind of a tie, if that went through there in my cords, and they'd be tight. But then I had read on one thing that helps to send signals better. So over here's all the stuff that's come out of my skin over the time. This right here, just for references, just yesterday, what's come out of my skin. Seriously, all this stuff's come out of my skin. And like I say, I don't think it actually comes out of your skin. That comes from that fluid that's in between the fake layer and your skin. See, it wants to stick to okay. And your skin layer. And it's stuff the dogs chewed up. A lot of it's stuff the dogs chewed up. But it pops out right in front of you, and it's crazy. I can't even. It's terrible, some of the things that come out. I've had dog shit come out of my skin, okay? I have packet upon packet upon packet of different things that have come out of my skin that are just strange glass. Lots of grass stuff. It's weird, just weird things. It's just strange stuff. So back to this targeted part. So what I discovered after I started to discover that people were coming in my home when I wasn't there, they were watching me in my mirrors. They were messing with my foundation and my wiring. And now I got my RF detector to prove it. I actually have a screen recording 4 hours long that shows it's all my neighbors except for one, and they signal each other with lights, and then you can see the stuff shoot at my camera. Like, you can only see it on the camera because it's and a couple of them are insects, and they look like a firecracker came off, but they shoot at my house. I had talked about how when I'm alone at my house, I hear stuff just like kind of like a light, more than rain, like a light, those sticky hands, if you want a sticky hand at a window or something, on my window and door. And then on the video, my other neighbor Daryl, who said, "Well, you can trust me," I saw him on the video. He always back in his car at a weird angle, and they were always all facing my house. All the cars across the street are facing my house, and they've always been facing the same way lately. And he'd come out and he's signaling the other neighbor, and then his light goes off, and then they're shooting stuff at me. You see these two guys at the corner setting up this light thing that goes up in the sky, and then things are shooting at the house. It's a long video. I'll try and get it on YouTube. You have to go at your own speed back and forth because you can see the crazy stuff happening, but it's over 4 hours. So it's you have to watch it to see what's going on. I was gonna try and clip it to make to be able to see. I mean, all the people across the street are shooting these nano things at me, and it's targeting my downstairs. I can't even explain the things that I've learned, like the little things on the lights that when you pull the light, those little metal cups like on the light cord. Those are on my wind chimes outside of both my tenant's door and my door, and there was a little sawed-in spot on the edge of my eave, and I had just painted the exterior of my house last summer, so I know that wasn't there, and the cord was through there, and there was that little cup thing from the light pull things added onto both of them at that spot, and it would make this weird noise you could barely hear, like a dog whistle and I was calling them to my house. I found those down in my crawl space attached to my vents, my ducts and stuff. They loosen things to make them jiggle. Every night a guy drives by with his bass really, really loud. That's never happened before. It make things vibrate. This is since I took my dish down and stuff. Because since I took my dish down and stuff, I started to get better for a little bit. But then they started shooting this stuff at my house, and then pumped a fog into my bathroom. I was getting better. I was using the rocks and glycerin, and I have a video I posted that night, and I was going, oh, my hair might come back, and I was feeling a lot better, and I could think, because I can't think, I can't complete anything, just 2 weeks ago, I couldn't even complete a sentence. I would forget what I was saying. I'm only 40 years old. I hate the way I look. But these people don't care. They're out to ruin my life, and they don't stop at anything. And I can't even explain terror, torture. Everything is strange in my world and weird. I have learned things that I don't even understand. I read a book about governmental conspiracies. They said if it's weird and strange, it's likely a governmental conspiracy. I'll tell you, this one runs deep. And it's been going on for a long time then. And who knows what other things they can do to people. Since I've figured everything out, I've traced it back to a steroid shot that I got. And I was going to look up the name of it because it's caused a lot of other people problems too. And I can't think of it. It wasn't a dog. It was anyway. And after 3 months after that, I bled for 128 days straight. I had to get a hysterectomy. I had 7 cysts. I was in a lot of pain. Then I went through all kinds of emotional issues. I got lymphedema. I got pneumonia. It was 5 years of just hell. And 5 years lost with my daughter to this terrible man-made disease that targets human beings. I need help. I need somebody who cares. I have enough to show the world that what I'm saying is true. I have the proof. I have all the proof in the world. I just need somebody, the right person. Please help me. Share this video. Please help others with Morgellons. Who knows what else they're doing? But the world needs to know that the government's doing this. I mean, they could be spying on anyone, anywhere with these nanobots. Seriously. A rock and bright light. Shine bright light on it. If you think you're being targeted, take out your SIM card. Put it on a rock. Put bright light on it. If your phone's disappeared, mine disappeared for about 4 hours one day. Something pops out of your skin. Shine a bright light on it. Put it on a rock. You'll see hairs come out of it and stuff. If you get a microscope for your phone, you'll see nanobots come out of it. I'm scared for humanity. I'm scared for our world.